Hello and welcome back to the BUSBY Way podcast. I'm joined as always by Chris. Chris, how are you doing today?
I'm good, mate. Yourself?
Good. Yes, I'm all right. I'm good as usual. Today, it's quite a special episode. We've won 2 league games on the bounce, and we've got a live reaction to the FA Cup draws. There's a lot to look forward to in this episode, and a lot to discuss. And then also we look forward to the 2 more games that we've got in the next 7 days. Me and Chris both have the FA Cup draw on in the background, so when it starts to go, we'll refrain from what we're talking about, and we'll go back to it once the draw's finished. But we'll talk about the game before the Rangnick era began first. We'll talk about the Arsenal game in midweek Thursday. Very weird game. I couldn't wrap my head around playing on a Thursday again. I didn't like it, and that's
Bad
not
memories.
what I want to go back to. Yeah, we bring back too many bad memories for me, but. Too many bad memories, but it also came with a great result as well. We beat Arsenal 3-2, which was a very, very good game. It was backwards and forwards, end to end, a lot of exciting stuff. A few controversial stuff, which I'm sure we'll get onto in a moment. But Chris, what did you make of the performance as a whole?
Yeah, I think obviously last game under Carrick, but I think now we've seen Rangnick's first game as well. We can see there was a lot about that Arsenal game that was very much in Rangnick's ideology in the way he wants to play. We were pressed quite well, and we're on the front foot for a lot of the game where we haven't tend to be so in a lot of so-called big games against your typical big six, which obviously we still need to count Arsenal in, especially this season. Obviously Ronaldo got a couple of goals. Some controversial moments, including Arsenal's opening goal. But I think after that setback, they responded well. Did United and sort of didn't let that sort of controversial moment impact too much on the rest of our performance. And Arsenal gave us a good test, but we responded well. And it was a really positive result, especially having got a point at Chelsea to then back it up with a win against Arsenal and get 4 points from 2 tough games. Then I think it was a really solid performance and showed plenty of things that are encouraging going forward under Rangnick as well, which we saw a bit of at the weekend.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that controversial topic is something that we do need to talk about because, it happened. I'll explain for those who don't know, if you've been sleeping under a rock and you've been watching this podcast, what happened. Essentially, Arsenal had a corner, it was put over, and Fred and De Gea seemed to come together, and Fred stepped on De Gea's foot. And with that, De Gea went down injured. The ball then broke. The referee hadn't seen that De Gea had gone down at this point. And then the first time he saw that De Gea had gone down is as soon as the ball left Smith Rowe's foot. And Smith Rowe scored the goal while De Gea was down laid on the floor. Now, for me, any other circumstance, De Gea pulls up with a hamstring injury, De Gea dislocates his shoulder, the game stops instantly and that goal doesn't count. But I don't see why that's any different to why Fred contacted him. What happens if he'd broke? I know obviously he got up straight away, but what if he'd have broken his foot and stayed down? Would that goal have stood? What did you think, Chris?
To be honest, I think I'm probably in the minority in thinking it's a legit goal, purely because as somebody who's played in goal, I don't think goalkeepers should ever go down injured because it's too much of a risk. Unless you're actually injured, which I don't think for a moment De Gea was. Having seen the incident close up, he stood on his toe. But anybody who's played in goal or who's defended on a set piece, they know people stand on your feet at every single one. I think it was really. I just think he shouldn't just go down, even if it's Smith Rowe or whoever. Even any Arsenal player who stands on him accidentally, just stay up, go down after the ball's gone out if you're hurt. For me, I think especially when the contact's not come from an opposition player, you're not going to get a free kick. So why go down unless you are genuinely properly hurt? So that's probably from the former goalkeeper's perspective that I like my goalkeeper to be a lot stronger there and stand up to it. But ultimately, like you say, if he pulled his hamstring or whatever, or it was a serious injury, the game would have stopped. But ultimately, by the letter of the law, as soon as the ball's gone in and the referee's only blown after the ball's gone into the net, there's nothing they could do. I think VAR had a lengthy look at it to try and find something they could take it off, because it is one of those where it's contentious because of the sort of like sporting integrity side of things. But yeah, I mean, I can understand both points of view. I'd lean towards I don't want the goalkeeper going down unless he's actually injured. Yeah, I think it's one of those where he's got. If we'd have got away with it, I'd have also been like, yeah, fair enough. I can see why we got away with it, but we didn't. But we won the game, so yeah.
The FA Cup draw has started. Sorry, Chris, just to interrupt that. Chelsea have been drawn out against Chesterfield so far. Liverpool have just been drawn out. Let's see who they get. They've been drawn with number 60, Shrewsbury Town.
2 easy ties for Chelsea and Liverpool. Then
watch us get Manchester City. Yeah, watch us get City. It's going to happen. Cardiff been drawn out there. And we'll just cover this draw for a bit, and then we'll go back onto the Arsenal game. But while we're here, we may as well cover this. Cardiff have been drawn against Preston North End. Again, I like to see the smaller teams come out against one another, because then you know there's going to be a smaller team in the next round.
Especially when you get like your non-leaguers.
Yes,
you either want them to get a United, a City, an Arsenal, Chelsea, Liverpool, or each other, so that one of them gets through.
Because the Kidderminster are in it, aren't they? The
Kidderminster Harriers.
Yeah, and they're actually managed by Russell Penn, ex-York City legend. My own town. I've been to see him a few times when actually Nick Pope was in goal, which is funny enough. Burnley have come out there, speaking of Nick Pope, against who have Burnley got away at Burnley? Do you want that tie? 19.
We're number 26.
26, and City are 25, aren't they? Huddersfield Town. It's going to happen. You just know it's going to happen.
Yeah, really, like the easiest tie would be, I think, Boreham Wood and St Albans are playing this evening, and they're obviously like they'll be the lowest ranked sides.
They've been already drawn out. I think they were drawn out first, weren't they? West Brom against Brighton, decent tie. I think Brighton should probably go through there based on the two teams.
Ultimately, we just want to avoid the Premier League sides.
Yeah, you want to avoid the Premier League side or the high-flying Championship sides, don't you? Here you go, Kidderminster Harriers at home. Who have they been drawing? Come on, get these. It'd be nice to get these. For 5, Reading. Oh, I feel sorry.
I mean, from a work perspective, like I work Reading home games, so I'm buzzing at that.
That's all right. That's not bad for you. Then you get day off. Leicester at home. You don't want Leicester. That's a good. I feel sorry for Kidderminster there, because you want a bigger team if you're going to be playing at home.
To be fair, there's some big players playing for Reading these days. They've got Danny Drinkwater, Andy Carroll, Baba Rahman, who was at Chelsea, Alan Halilovic. Basically, a lot of Premier League rejects have gone
to Reading. Leicester have gone against Watford there, which is the playoff, the magical Troy Deeney moment being replayed, maybe. Who knows? Mansfield.
One less Premier League sides, of course.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, 2 Premier League sides against one another.
And obviously, Leicester, the holders, would be a contender.
Yeah, you'd expect us to go through there, though, I think, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Hartlepool, watch City get these. City will either get us or an easy draw. No, Blackpool. Must be coming down to the last few now. There can't be many left.
Third round draws seem to take a
this
lot
is the
longer
first time
than
the
usual.
Premier Championship sides are in there with them, isn't it? Oh, I like this one, Hull City, because I can get tickets to that, and it's not far from me. Hull City, against Everton. That's a decent draw.
Potential upset there.
Yeah, Hull have been struggling in the league, but they've picked it up in the last few games. I think they won 3 on the bounce a few weeks back. Beating Birmingham, Reading and Cardiff.
They played quite well against Reading, to be fair.
Well, they played well against Birmingham. I covered that one as well, the media team at Hull City, and they played well there. Bristol against Fulham. There are a lot of big Premier League teams left in this. There's
still got Arsenal.
Yeah.
Newcastle,
Norwich. A lot of the Premier League teams left. Palace. Tottenham, who are out now, actually. Tottenham against 48. No, Morecambe. Ugh. No
Shame
good
that's not the other
draws.
way around.
There's not been any
No,
good draws in here.
all the big Premier League sides are at home to lower league opposition.
Apart from yeah. Leicester
Apart from us,
Watford's
probably.
probably the most of note at the moment that I can think.
Yeah, of the big two.
Yeah.
And Kidderminster at Reading.
Yeah.
That's what the biggest gap. Kidderminster, National League North. I've actually seen them play this season when they played at Chorley.
Again, Millwall v Palace.
Oh, that's a tasty one. Quite local, that.
That'd be a rough one, that, won't it?
Yeah, nobody wants to go Millwall away in the FA Cup because that's upset written all over it.
Oh, it is, isn't it? Port Vale against Brentford. God, there's some dire draws here. Dire draws.
And City United is still in it.
I know. They're going to get one another, aren't they?
They'll bit last two balls out.
Yeah, they will, yeah. They will.
Well, they'll just pad it all the way through this.
Yeah, we actually will. We're doing quite well getting through this. It'll be City United last two. 25. No, it will not. Manchester City are playing Swindon away. Shock. Easy draw for them.
Oh, I remember seeing a stat in the League Cup, when obviously they won it 4 years in a row. Yeah. I think they only played Premier League teams in the semi-final onwards.
It's ridiculous, isn't it? Wigan at home. Probably the only teams of note now that would be big would be Arsenal and Leeds, I think. Maybe West Ham. I'm hoping for Sheffield United away because I'm currently in Sheffield at university. So that would be quite nice for myself from a selfish perspective. Wigan, Blackburn, Luton. Oh, Luton away. Don't want that, do you? No, we ain't got it. That's a good job. We've not got that.
There's a few I'm looking at thinking you don't want them away. Anybody at home, really, to be fair.
Yeah. Harrogate Town against Luton. That's another local towards me at home. Birmingham City. I won't be bothered with that. I think we'll be all right with that. 62. Who's that? Plymouth Argyle.
Oh, long trip for them.
That is a long trip for them, yeah.
At least he's halfway, I suppose. At least it's not Newcastle for him.
Well, I'm going to say, did you see that Sheffield United played Plymouth in the... here we go. Out at home. Man United. Who have we got? When we can ignore the rest of the draw. Aston Villa. Okay.
It's a bland game, isn't it, really?
Yeah, I think I'd be happy with that. I mean, it's probably one of the only Premier League versus Premier League teams. It's... do you think we'll cope with Villa? Do you think we'll be all right with Aston Villa in the Cup?
Steven Gerrard, isn't it? I think it's on TV purely because of that, innit? Gerrard at Old Trafford. Obviously, they've beaten us this season at Old Trafford. So, yeah, it's a tricky tie, but it all depends how Aston Villa prioritise it. I think Steven Gerrard would fancy his chances of a cup run. So I think he'll go quite strong in that game. So I think it'll be quite tough. And obviously, it presents a good opportunity for Ralf to try and win a trophy straight off. So, that it's quite an interesting tie in terms of, the managerial subplots. But, yeah, it could have been better, could have been worse, I think. That's how I assess that one.
Yeah, agreed. And just seeing that one come out there, that's a long journey. Speaking of them, Newcastle against Cambridge. That's an incredible
And Newcastle
journey.
at home?
Yeah.
They're my other club.
Are they?
Yeah, they've got work.
It means you're working for Newcastle then?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, at home to Cambridge is another night's work for you, Chris. So enjoy that one. Anyway, we'll go back to the Arsenal game. After that game, Michael Carrick did step down pretty much immediately. I mean, I finished watching the game and left the house. I think I was going to the shop. And by the time I'd got back, Michael Carrick had resigned. And do you think... I know Roy Keane said a lot on Sky Sports about it being a job for the boys. Do you think that potentially, that's maybe what he's seen? He's maybe thought, I want to make my own path and forge my own path rather than be given this coaching role under Ralf Rangnick. What do you think about that situation?
Yeah, possibly. I think he obviously backs himself to possibly be a manager. in his own right. If he's thinking there might be an opportunity further down the pyramid to get into management and cut my teeth, maybe it's. But I think he touched on it actually. That it born a little bit out of loyalty to Ollie. Probably felt guilty staying there when ultimately Ollie's gone. Obviously, I had the opinion anyway that Carrick probably should have gone, and the rest of the coaching team, to be fair, should really have gone when Ollie did, because they were meant to be a coaching team at the end of the day, not just a manager. So, yeah, I think it's probably best for all involved. And yeah, I think Carrick's got a future in this part of the game. Though I think we've seen straight away, he looks the part there, and I think a League One, League Two team could do a lot worse than take a punt on Michael Carrick as their number one as manager. I really do, and I think that not enough former players who become coaches then drop down that low. We've seen obviously Steven Gerrard go straight in at Rangers, and now he's got the Aston Villa job. Frank Lampard, Derby, and then got the Chelsea job. I think ultimately why Frank Lampard didn't succeed at Chelsea is because it came too early for him. Part of it, so I think it's a better move for these people to go and try lower down the league and build a reputation for yourself, get that experience, find a way that you want the game to be played and develop it. Ralf Rangnick didn't exactly take a big job when he first started. This is comfortably his biggest job. He's worked his way up and gained a reputation. I think more people like Michael Carrick standing, who's got a really good reputation as a footballer, shouldn't be guaranteed a cushy top end job. Should have to work for it, and I think League One, League Two might be a good option for him to learn his trade.
Yeah, I agree, and well, it's not a bad record to walk away with Manchester United career, is it? Really, that he had. He beat Arsenal, drew to Chelsea, and beat Valencia in probably what were three of our toughest games given the circumstances. Not Valencia. Did I say Valencia? I meant Villarreal.
Yeah.
Meant Villarreal.
We all knew what you meant.
What could be potentially our three toughest games. Especially given the circumstances, we need to beat Villarreal to qualify, and that's now alleviated the pressure for young boys on Wednesday. But yeah, we'll talk about that Palace game, the first game under the Rangnick era. It was the same team, as it was unchanged from what Carrick picked the week before. Do you think we were potentially right about Rangnick having some influence on that team against Arsenal and maybe even the one previous?
Yeah, 100%. Come on, it's too much of a coincidence because they played well against Arsenal, but the team that played against Arsenal wasn't necessarily the one we'd have thought would have been the absolute formula going forward. But I definitely think he's had some sort of influence in there just because of the style that we saw in the two games. Like I said, I think the Arsenal game, there was early signs of it, and I think once Ralf had officially taken over, then you saw a bit more development of it, and I think we'll see that week by week a bit more fine tuning of the way he wants to play. So yeah, I definitely think he's had an influence, and I think it would have been a good thing if he did start early because it's not like he was treading on anybody's toes because Michael Carrick was a caretaker at the end of the day, and if Ralph's been appointed prior to the game and he was just waiting on a work permit, he was in the country anyways. He's watching the game. What harm was a phone call though to say, yeah, Michael, this is what I think we should do. Go with this. So yeah, I definitely think he's had some influence, and I think that opinion's justified by the way we played in both games. And I think that Palace game, we saw a lot of good things from the Arsenal game move into that one, and a little bit more of a development into it, because I thought the pressing in particular in that first sort of 20-25 minutes was excellent, put Palace under a lot of pressure and created chances off the back of that press. So, and it was something we hadn't seen, which was a really good thing, and it's clearly the message of the press and how Ralf wants to do it. players taking it on board quickly. So that's a positive sign, I think, as well.
Yeah, definitely. And I don't think it was just the press that changed. I think, we knew we were going to get the press when Rangnick came in because he was known for it. That's what he's known for in German. Oh, my voice went then. That's what he's known for in German football. But, I mean, the passing as well, it didn't seem to just be sideways, to the fullback, backwards, sideways. It was forward. Not once did I see anyone seeing nothing available forward and turn. I always saw them with a head up, and if there was nothing, they'd try something. And I think that's a massive improvement. It's going to be so much more exciting to watch compared to the standard football we've had since Fergie. We've had what we had. We've had a David Moyes that was primarily set pieces. We've had a Van Gaal, which was arguably probably the worst football I've ever seen. We've had Jose Mourinho, who's known for his defensive football, and Ole, who really, the football was good to start with, but it was never really a style of football. You never really thought we had a plan. Whereas Rangnick really does look like that. This is these set ways, and this is how we're going to play. Like you say with pressing, Rashford did a lot of pressing for Ronaldo, which was brilliant. It was really, really good. And they're not accommodating Ronaldo anymore. That they're actually making the system work for Ronaldo, which is what we needed to do under Ole. I want to talk about Fred, Chris, because we've said our opinions on him on this podcast multiple times, and there's been a lot of stuff on social media giving him a lot of praise. And I don't understand it. I'm sat here thinking, are they watching the same football match that I'm watching? Because all right, yes, he got an assist, and all right, yes, he probably did a good clearance towards the end. But in that first half against Arsenal, not against the Palace game, it was all right against Palace. He was okay. But again, in that first half against Arsenal, genuinely, I would go as far as saying it's one of the worst performances I've ever seen from any Manchester United player in a Manchester United shirt. His passing was just, I didn't see him make a correct, successful pass. He injured our own keeper. It cost us the goal. And then as to social media, I saw him getting all this praise because he got an assist and did a good block at the end. I mean, don't get me wrong. Yeah, that's fantastic. And we probably wouldn't have got the 3 points without that. But also, we wouldn't be in the position we were to need them 3 points if it wasn't for him. And a lot of people have been, again, bringing McTominay into that. But I think a lot of it's down to Fred. I think whenever McTominay's played in there with Pogba, I think he's been good. And whenever he's come up in there, it's Fred. His passing goes sloppy. It's really, really sloppy. What have you made from him in these last 2 games under Rangnick? Have you seen an improvement, or are you still of the same opinion?
I thought against Palace he was better. I mean, what one performance doesn't change, everything that goes before it. Because we've got to be brutally honest. He had been really, really poor for the majority of his United career. He'd have the odd good game, but it was generally as a duo. I thought he did look as though he was a different type of player in that he looked as though he had a little bit of confidence about him. And I think Ralf likes him, and I think we can see that in the way Fred was wanting to do things, his energy, and he was trying the forward passing. He was looking to try the passes that he necessarily wasn't doing. Yeah, they weren't coming off all the time, but then at least he had the work rate to try and win it back, which was good. Obviously, his goal is a superb finish. I didn't know he had a right foot, to be honest.
I don't think he knew he had a right foot.
I didn't even know he had a left foot, to be honest. But yeah, it's a great goal. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say he's turned into Zidane overnight, but I was pleasantly surprised. I didn't know he had that sort of more performance into him. It's all about now, can he continue that week in, week out? If we do, yeah, maybe Ralf can at least get him close to the player we thought we were signing. But he still has a way to go. But I'll give him credit where he's due. I thought he did relatively well. I'm not going to sit here and say he was a 10 out of 10. It was probably a 7 out of 10. Which for him is very good. But yeah, I'm not getting carried away because he's chipped the keeper with his weak foot. Let's face it. We saw him try to do it against Chelsea, and we all thought it was going to be the exact same outcome.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I'm not saying he was poor against Palace. I thought he was okay against Palace. Like you say, probably a 7 out of 10. I mean, he's the reason we won the game. He scored. But in that Arsenal game, I just didn't get it. He was getting so much
sloppy, wasn't he?
praise.
Yeah, that Arsenal game, he was sloppy, I thought.
Yeah, very. And we were all in the pub, and we were like, I remember when the goal went in and he got the assist, and we were all like, we were slagging him off on, like, between us before because he kept losing it and stuff. Then when he got the assist, we were like, world beater, that Fred, great player, one of the best I've ever seen. And it's just one of those things. Only Fred could have one of those games where he injures the keeper, gives away a goal, gets an assist, and gives the ball away every time he gets it. I just he's just one of those players. I never know what I'm going to get from him. It's bizarre. But anyway, we'll look forward. We've now got the Champions League game on Wednesday against Young Boys at home, which I'm going to actually. I'm quite looking forward to going to that. But it's a rubber game, really, because we've topped the group and we've qualified, so it doesn't really matter. However, for me, I still wouldn't go as weak as people are saying we should go, because Ralph's new and he's going to want to implement that system for the important games. And for me, you do it in games like this, where they don't really matter, and you just go out and you try and implement that system that's not been there before. Do you think we'll see many changes in the team compared to what we saw against Arsenal or Palace at the weekend?
I think he might go 50-50 because obviously he you start to listen to him speak after the game. This 4-2-2-2 is his system. Where he plays with the 2 6s, the 2 10s, the 2 centre forwards. It's every player has now got to find their position within that system. He could look at it one of two ways. He can go, right, this is my first 11, and I'm going to use 8 or 9 out of them because I want to rest a couple of players because they need it, i.e. Ronaldo. Probably pointless playing him in this one, let's face it, because he's the one player you don't want to get injured. Maybe you could throw Bruno Fernandes into that as well. The rest, probably, for me, all have a point to prove to Ralf. Probably discarding De Gea as well, because I think, again, we know he's been very good this season. So he can use it as an opportunity to see, he might think, I want to see Donny van der Beek play as one of these 10s or as one of these 6s and give them the best part of 90 minutes to stake a claim. But in doing so, if he plays Donny van der Beek 6, he'll play either Fred or McTominay next to him because one of those two will play every game or whatever. Say he knows McTominay's his right-sided 6, he'll play Donny on the left or something, and sort of try and build a few more partnerships in there because, like you said, he's basically split everything into two. You've got your 2 centre halves, your 2 fullbacks, your 2 6s, 2 10s, 2 forwards, and he's got so many options in those now. You've got Greenwood and Rashford who could play as either the 10s or the forwards. Van der Beek can play as a 6 or the 10. Pogba could probably play as a 6 or a 10, realistically. So he might want to try those combinations to see if those players can play those roles. I mentioned Wan-Bissaka to you before we came on air, saying that Dalot probably looks as though he might actually be the better option in this system. Might be a chance for Wan-Bissaka to come in and have a go. But and we saw Anthony Elanga come off the bench at the weekend as well. So, which to me suggests that Ralf has seen Elanga or videos of him or heard reports of him and gone, you know what, I'm gonna have a proper look at this kid. So he might be a player who actually starts because he might go, okay, I want to look at this fella, but then he might have the rest of the team close to near. It's probably going to be the players who, came off the bench. I think was Elanga, Lingard, Van der Beek. By those substitutions, you could suggest that they're the three most likely to break into his 11. So we might try those three and get a better look at them. Obviously, I think Dean Henderson was back on the bench after a spell out injured as well. So give him a go. He's not played for a while. But yeah, it will be interesting. He's not going to put the under 23s out by any stretch of the imagination. But I think it's a good opportunity to look at the squad within the system. We know that that's the absolute certainty that we will play 4-2-2 because that is the way he wants to play. It's just a case of which players fit where. And I think we could well see a few of those fringe players given an opportunity to stake a claim because it is a bit of a free hit, isn't it? So, yeah, it could be an opportunity for that. But you want to keep that momentum as well. So, difficult balancing act, I think.
Yeah, you mentioned Alanga there, and apparently he'd been really impressed with him in training this week. That's apparently what it was. Do you think there's all this talk about Ralf Rangnick plays a lot of the youth, and we've seen that. Gave Alanga the opportunity at the end of the game and against Palace. Do you think we might see some more names come up from potentially, like you say, and obviously they're not going to play the whole under 23 team, 93's team, but do you think that there might be a few more come up? I know there was a lot of talk that before he came in, that he fancied that Hannibal who plays in midfield. Do you think we might see one of those, on the bench or maybe even starting to come on, in the next few games, especially maybe even this young boys one, because like you say, it's a free hit.
Yeah, he's a player that I've heard a lot about, and the clips I've seen are very impressive. He looks a talent. And then you've also got the likes of Amad Diallo, who, whenever I've seen him play, he looks sharp, he looks quick, he looks a threat. I'd like to see him get a bit of game time as well. So I think we will see players, if they are performing in the under 23s, putting the effort into training. Ralph seems like the sort of guy who will go, you know what, you've actually put the effort in. You're making an impression. I'm going to reward you. Because I think, we've seen with these where he's been at other clubs, it's that sort of whole club mentality. And if you're performing in the under 23s, you're going to get your shot in the first team at some point. So I think there's an incentive for the younger players and the fringe players to put in that extra effort to impress the new manager and get a go. And like I said, being a free hit game, won't be surprised to see maybe a very youthful bench or something. And if they play well and continue to impress, they might get more and more first team opportunities because you've got to start somewhere. The class of 92 got their opportunities and they went on to big things. All it takes is one player to get injured or somebody to lose form, or you just turn to Hannibal and for the last 30 minutes because he's thinking, I need to try something different, and then boom, changes the game. It's just that one opportunity. So we'll be interested to see how many of these younger players do get that nod.
I'll ask you, but not that it matters. But how do you think this game will go? Do you think we'll beat Young Boys? You'd think we would.
Yeah, I think ultimately, I think Young Boys still have at least a chance of getting Europa League. So it could be a big one for them because if they can finish third in this group, that's a big achievement for them, really, considering the caliber of opposition. So yeah, they'll give it a good go, but I'd be confident that that we'd be able to get the win.
Yeah, I think I'm the same. And then after that, at the weekend on Saturday, we have Norwich. Now, again, like we've said this before, this is a game you'd expect United to win, especially given the new management and the feel-good factor and the fact that Norwich are not doing the best in the league this season. However, we've seen it go completely the wrong way before. I'll ask you broad, Chris. How do you see this game going?
I think obviously it's at Norwich, isn't it? So
Yeah.
the Norwich have picked up recently, haven't they? I can't remember how they got
Well,
on
they were
at the
beaten
weekend.
3-0 by Tottenham, weren't they?
Yeah, but I mean that's not the games that they
No.
want to get results in. it's the home games ultimately.
They drew to Wolves, drew to Newcastle, beat Southampton, beat Brentford, lost to Leeds, and then obviously the 7-0 to Chelsea.
They'd obviously gone 4 unbeaten before they got beat by Spurs. So there's clearly something that's changed under Dean Smith. I think they struggle at the back, and United's forward line, with the quality it has, should create enough chances. Tim Krul has the ability to be unbelievable on his day. He throws in these crazy performances every now and again where he's unbeatable. But I think the sheer weight of chances we'll create against them will see us through. And I don't think that good going forward. I mean, especially against better opposition, even as poor as we have been in defence in recent games. But I think if United get the press right, Norwich try to play out from the back, and don't necessarily have the greatest footballers to do that. Especially that was definitely how they played under Daniel Farke. I don't know whether Dean Smith will try that against United. He might be a bit more direct. We'll wait and see. I know that obviously Brandon Williams, unknown from United, have been playing really well for them. I'd imagine he won't be able to play in this game. So they'll have a sub left back. And I think Brandon's been playing quite well for Norwich. So I think being at Carrow Road makes it a more difficult game. Obviously we've seen them turn over Manchester City in the last time they were in the Premier League at home. They haven't really had that moment yet in the Premier League this time around. Let's hope it's not this week. But yeah, the atmosphere and going away to Norwich is probably what makes it harder than the calibre of opposition. If United get in front, they win the game. If Norwich take the lead, gets a bit nervy, and we'd have to rely on the quality to turn it around, I think. But I'd be confident that we can go there and get the result.
Yeah, I think I'd be the same as well. We've been in positions before where we've turned it around, but obviously not in this new system, not in this new management. So, I mean, there's so many unknowns and so many variables, because we could get battered midweek by Young Boys and then it could be on the floor again. Anything can happen at United this season. We've seen that quite clearly. We've been beaten 5-0 by Liverpool and beaten 4-1 by Watford. So really anything can happen. But that Norwich game actually is the start of an easy run of fixtures. We have Norwich away, then Brentford away, then Brighton, then Newcastle, then Burnley, then Wolves, then Villa twice in a row, now obviously the Cup. And then we have West Ham, Burnley, Southampton, and Leeds, and then Watford. And then, so that run of games, obviously, you've got your West Ham in there, a high flying, and your Leeds away, which isn't fantastic. But now really is a time to kick on and get points behind it. Because from there, I'd be expecting us to win most of those. I don't know about yourself, but do you think maybe, I know I'm putting it out there a bit, but do you think maybe Ollie was hard done by the fixture list, and that's maybe why he's lost his job and we're actually in a new management now?
Yeah, I think we said at the time, didn't we, that the fixture list just couldn't have come at that bad period, couldn't have come at a worse time really for Ollie. And obviously now it's fallen kindly for Ralf. But what you got to say, there's no easy game in the Premier League. I think from what you said there, I think we've got to go to Norwich. Do we have to go to Brentford?
Yeah.
And to Newcastle? Yeah. All three of those desperate for points at home. Their home form's going to be what keeps them in the league. Newcastle have obviously got a new manager. Brentford have pushed Chelsea close, got a draw against Liverpool, and that 3-3. And I think the quality of the Premier League's harder now than it's ever been. Because if you was asked me a different question of who goes down, I genuinely couldn't tell you, because I could make a case for probably 7 or 8 to go down and all of them to stay up as well. Because it's a bit crazy down there at the minute. But it's on paper, and being Manchester United, ultimately Manchester United should expect to win every game, really. But these ones, you look at them and go, yeah, they should be winning. but they've got to, if they play their best, play the system they want to do, take their chances and don't make mistakes, they win the games. Because the quality will see them through. It's if they're slightly off, all of these teams have at least one player who can create a moment, or they play in a stadium that's got a real atmosphere. Brentford's a unique atmosphere. There's Newcastle's a ridiculously unique atmosphere, especially now that there's a sort of feel good factor again about the place. So they're tough for different reasons. But if both teams perform at their best, United come out on top because of the quality. That is the logical answer. But football logic, they're not sort of good bedfellows, are they? So, yeah, it could end up being a good run of fixtures. Could win 6 in a row. But we'll wait and see. Got to do the talking on the pitch.
Precisely that, and I think we'll call it there, Chris, because I think we've pretty much covered everything this week. It was a bit to cover, so we've gone on a bit longer than we have been in past weeks. But I mean, when there's news to talk about, you may as well talk about it because it's a good conversation to have. But yeah, thank you for joining me as per usual, Chris. It's been a pleasure. We'll probably be back next week, I think. I don't see a reason why not. We'll be back next Sunday or Monday. Thank you all for joining. Make sure you check out all the content on local TV. It's not just the football content. There is multiple content and multiple channels they put it out on, whether it's Leeds, Birmingham. You will have a local TV area. And yeah, catch us next week, probably at the same time, and we'll see you then. Goodbye.